Don't leave me hanging. It's go time.
Hey everybody, this is Josh, and welcome to another astounding game of StarCraft 2. This one is being played between Gretorp from Fnatic MSI. He is the red Terran down here in the bottom left corner of iCCup Fighting Spirit. His opponent today is the orange Zerg. Up here in the top left, it is ATN DarKFoRcE. His account actually says ShoutCraft US. He is, of course, a European player, and he's playing this on the North American server, so ShoutCraft, very nice to lend him an account. And ShoutCraft, I believe, is Total Biscuit's usual account, so that's cool. That's good that DarKFoRcE is able to play on the North American server because of some nice casters. But either way, iCCup Fighting Spirit, I just cast a game between Sock and Cloud earlier this week on this map, so you might be familiar with it. For people who missed that series, I'll go ahead and go over some of the features of the map once again. The main, this is basically it. You cannot access it from the back door at all. You cannot access it from right here. There's a big mountain in the way. But this whole area here is a cliff from the low ground up, so Blinkstalkers, Colossi, and Reapers, of course, will be able to utilize that. Check this out. Already Gretorp doing something pretty cool here with his supply depot and his first barracks, making a sort of hook that has to go down through these Vespene geysers and up into the base. It's almost like watching a tower defense or a maze defense custom game, but I like the look of that. DarKFoRcE, on the other hand, not actually doing anything too exciting yet. It looks like he is just saving up minerals, and there goes his natural hatchery. And I should point out that the natural is actually, as you've probably seen already, very close into the main. It's surrounded on all sides by cliffs, so there's no real access to it except for this choke point here in the front, which DarKFoRcE is running right through with his first scouting drone. And will he actually go all the way around the geysers? It looks like he wanted to stop that barracks from completing, but now he is going to double back? No, I don't know what he's doing. But either way, he did see that barracks and supply depot there at the front, while Gretorp is just now starting to scout. He has not found his opponent just yet. Gretorp actually could build a supply depot right here and finish this wall off at once and for all if he wanted to. I actually would advise that, since of course he can lower the supply depot or lift off his barracks anytime he actually wants to get out of there. And he has not built a refinery yet. As you can see, he is getting a command center quite quickly to keep up with DarKFoRcE. There goes that first refinery now. So after this first barracks and command center, he could throw up a couple more barracks. Could go all the way up to 5 or 6 if he wanted to, but more likely I think a factory and starport will come up next. We'll just have to see, since he's not being aggressive at all. You know, this actually favors him getting 2 gas fairly quickly and getting some factory and starport units out quickly as well. Spine crawler down for DarKFoRcE, not going to be necessary. I'm not sure what DarKFoRcE saw that made him want to actually go ahead and waste a drone and those minerals on the spine crawler, since essentially you know, Gretorp has nothing here. He's just had that one Marine. Actually, he didn't even have the Marine down there when DarKFoRcE was snooping around, so now he is going to send a couple of Lings to come test the front once again. Probably not going to find anything too exciting. Looks like Gretorp is slightly ahead on worker count. This should actually go in DarKFoRcE's favor here very soon, as he is starting to drone up heavily now off of those 2 hatcheries. I don't actually know too much about DarKFoRcE, except that he is on the same team as Sock, the very good Protoss player that is alternate attacks. Gretorp, on the other hand, has been around for a long time in the North American scene. I've seen quite a few of his games since the beta, and he is a very, very fun guy to hang out with at those MLG events. We've got one coming up here in April, actually April 1st, so next weekend essentially, and I can't wait to see Gretorp there because he's a really cool guy. And lately, he's been casting a lot. He's been casting for NASL, or actually the show match that they did between Idra and Jinro, and he will be casting the NASL with In Control. Look at this, a second command center coming up after only having 3 barracks total, 1 tech lab, no reactors. He is going heavy econ. Let's see if that actually pays off for him. Not sure where this command center is going to head to. His third base option most likely is going to be here. If you leave your natural, you come up through this little choke point, and this third base actually belongs to the bottom right spawn, more or less. Gretorp's would be this one here, but it is between his main and his opponent's main. Obviously, you don't want that to happen. DarKFoRcE will be able to take this as his third pretty safely, though, as it is kind of far away from Gretorp. So yeah, I think this third is actually more likely than this one. It would be really hard to hold this since the ramp here is so close to DarKFoRcE's base. And obviously, if Mutalisks came out, they would be a nightmare to try and deal with. So we'll see where he actually goes with that. Gretorp also was casting the GCPL, the Gosu Coaching Premier League. I did cast a few choice replays out of those series as well. He's been casting along with Chef in Control and someone else. I can't remember who, but they've got a great bunch of player casters there for that league, and it's now actually finished. The GCPL is finished, so I might try and grab some more replays from there soon. But right now, I should mention that this is a best-of-3 series between DarKFoRcE and Gretorp being played once again for the Justin.tv Invitational number 2. It just had so many great players involved that I want to cast a ton of games from this tournament, in case you guys missed them over the weekend. And we have Shoutcraft US, aka DarKFoRcE, checking in here with an Overseer. He is actually going to get a glimpse at everything going on in Gretorp's base. Sees that the natural is down, and there's only an engineering bay here, no factory or starport yet, so it looks like I was wrong, at least for the first 8.5 minutes of this game. I'm surprised, really, that he doesn't have a factory yet, and instead has gone for mass barracks play. Looks like a fifth barracks is coming up as that first factory is finally dropped. DarKFoRcE, on the other hand, he's just been content to drone up. He's got a lair, he's got a roach warren without any roach speed completed. He's getting a spire now. The spine crawler has seen no action. He's just getting covered in dust at this point, or creep. I'm not sure exactly if dust sticks to creep the same way it does to everything else, but either way, not a lot of use out of that little bad boy. And looks like Gretorp is safely going to get his third base established over here between the bottom right and bottom left expansions. There is an Overlord checking things out, but Gretorp comes on over with a handful of Marines. He's going to be able to explode that guy, no problem. He's got a bunker out here between his natural and his third. I like this placement. I'm surprised, actually, that those Zerglings tried to run right past it. Now we see a lot of Roaches and Lings coming from DarKFoRcE to try and stop this bunker from happening, probably to try and stop the third base from being established as well, although it is already finished. But now Gretorp coming in from both sides with a lot of stimmed Marines. I don't think they have 1-0 upgrades yet. No, it is just about to finish. Combat Shield's going to finish here soon as well, but DarKFoRcE losing a lot of units there for not a lot of trade-off. All Gretorp really lost there was a bunker, and DarKFoRcE seemed to lose quite a few more units than that. Look at this, 33 units lost. Creep tumors do count, as he just killed a couple of creep tumors there in the middle of the map, and Gretorp really only lost 8 units so far. Ooh, these 2 queens, oh, running off the creep. Those are going to be so great for Gretorp to try and pick off, although they seem to be used primarily for laying creep tumors. It still hurts to lose that resource value. Lots of Banelings, Speedlings, and Roaches here. DarKFoRcE has a very good mix of tier 1 units here to kill off those Marines. Finally, DarKFoRcE ends the threat as he is getting his own third base up. Did Gretorp actually see that hatchery being planted? Yes, he certainly did. Back in DarKFoRcE's main, he's got a Spire, Baneling Nest, Roach Warren. He's got quite a lot of tech options. I would imagine that Speedling, Baneling, Mutalisk is probably going to be his composition of choice. Not too many more Roaches, most likely. He is getting Baneling speed upgrade. I don't think he ever did get the Roach speed upgrade. No, he still hasn't. And Gretorp's still focusing heavily on Marines. First factory finally did get completed. It is going to be added onto a tech lab now. There's a starport up with a reactor, so I would not be surprised to see lots and lots of medevacs coming out soon to support these beefy upgraded Marines with their 1-0 upgrades and their combat shields. Let's look at the harvester count just while we have a kind of lull in the action. 55 for Gretorp, 43 for DarKFoRcE. Very surprising to see Gretorp with that huge economic lead. As a Zerg player, you kind of want to be 1 base or more ahead of your Terran opponent at all times, just because mules are so friggin' valuable. And obviously, it lets you have more larvae to use on units like these 6 Mutalisks, which are now about to poke into Gretorp's main and potentially score some nice worker kills. There's only 1 turret here for Gretorp. We do see another turret over on the right side of the base, not really defending anything too important, just nice to have one there, I guess. But now that the Marines and medevacs are coming in here, DarKFoRcE needs to get out of there with those Mutalisks. Not going to be able to really take out those Marines fast enough. So DarKFoRcE doing minimal damage with those Mutalisks. Actually lost a couple of them, or at least 1 of them. And now he's just content to sit back at home, continue droning up. He's got 9 in production right now. That'll take him a lot closer to Gretorp's total, but still Gretorp going to be in the lead. Not to mention he's got 2 orbital commands worth of mules and a planetary fortress at this third location to keep him mining happily. Baneling speed is now done though. Melee attacks level 1 being researched. Flyer attacks level 1 being researched. That is going to complement all of his units as he has stopped building roaches and does not have a Hydralisk Den anywhere that I can see. So looks like Speedling, Baneling, Muta, the very nice composition against Terran players. That is exactly what DarKFoRcE is starting to invest in now. Gretorp loading up a couple of medevacs here in the middle of the map. He has a lot of Marines moving over to the right side, so he'll probably be hitting the third base of DarKFoRcE with this big contingent and dropping with the medevacs over probably at this natural, trying to score some kills. So depending on what happens first, we'll drop one of those attacks in the picture-in-picture and just follow the other one. So the medevacs are coming in. There are overlords here to spot this, and the mutalisks are going to come in here. Actually, they might actually kill these medevacs before they can even manage to drop anything. 1 medevac goes down, 2 medevacs go down after dropping only a couple of Marines, and that is going to be it for the drop. But over here on the right side, Banelings and tons of Banelings coming over here trying to kill off the Marines of Gretorp, and doing so very, very successfully. Gretorp could have loaded up and tried to run away, but these mutalisks would have been caught up to these medevacs anyway, so that was just a hopeless attack. DarKFoRcE looking very, very strong right now. He's caught up in harvesters, or nearly caught up, and his army value is way higher than Gretorp's right now after losing all those tons of Marines and medevacs, but Gretorp is still ahead on total supply, so he's not out of the game per se. DarKFoRcE still got some upgrades rolling, now getting ground armor level 1 and a 4th hatchery somewhere, just a macro hatch it looks like over at that third base, but he can produce so many Marines so quickly. Medevacs still popping out, looks like 1 at a time, and we do have another factory getting a tech lab add-on here for some siege tanks that we see sieged defensively around this natural and in front of the third over here. So Gretorp still just making his way across the map. I like the creep spread that we're seeing out of DarKFoRcE, basically connecting his natural over to Gretorp's natural at this point, but this siege tank sprawl and turrets going up are going to support Gretorp's ground forces, all these tons of Marines, quite well. Gretorp really just needs to watch out for Banelings. So far, that has been the bane of his existence in this game. He just really, really needs to avoid Banelings. And yes, I did just call Banelings the bane of his existence, and didn't even realize it until after I said it. But there are a ton of mutalisks up now, so those could become the bane of his existence. I'm going to stop saying that now. Gretorp does have a ton of Marines, but mutalisks obviously able to traverse water and cliffs and things like that. Marines can't do that, so as long as DarKFoRcE remains mobile with his many, many mutalisks, he should be able to do quite a lot of damage if Gretorp ever pokes out of his base. And now we see DarKFoRcE taking the initiative here, rolling in all these Banelings and Speedlings, but the siege tanks are parked in quite good spots. DarKFoRcE didn't know how many of them there actually were, but now the cloud of mutas in here trying to take out some turrets, at least going to be able to kill off 1 turret and a barracks before Gretorp is able to respond. He's got no Vikings in the air. It's all down to those Marines and turrets, and now that the Marines are stemmed up and showing up here at this mutalisk spot, he's going to just fly away. I see a Thor out now for Gretorp as well, just the one for the time being. He does have that long-range anti-air attack that does splash damage, so DarKFoRcE needs to stay away from it, essentially. It's basically just a big mobile turret that does splash damage at this point, being used purely for defensive purposes, and DarKFoRcE is going to actually just retreat back to his big ol' army of Banelings and Speedlings here. Another queen out just to do some creep spreading. Let's look at the unit tab and see we have 5 queens total for DarKFoRcE. Pathogen glands coming now, Hive coming as well. I missed that infestation pit coming down, but now we see he is getting the proper upgrades associated with all that. Gretorp's starting to move now. He's got siege tanks up in siege mode. He's got the mobile turret Thor here along with a billion Marines. How many Marines total does he have? Looks like 90 Marines. That can't be right. That is a ton of Marines. He really needs to avoid those Banelings. As you see, the green acid sizzle all over them. Holy crap. So we just had 90 Marines. Now we're already down to 57. That's insane. 33 Marines just died there to those Banelings, but he still has 57 alive, so he just, lost a couple of tanks and still has a giant mobile army here, along with a Thor to help protect from mutalisks. So Gretorp looking very, very strong right now. His army value is at 174 against 114, 115, declining constantly. More Banelings splashing into those Marines. Holy crap, Gretorp lost another ton of Marines and still has 33 alive. DarKFoRcE cannot rebuild his Banelings fast enough and just GG's out of there. This Thor tank, medevac, and Marine combo from Gretorp, really all that was necessary to take out DarKFoRcE in Game 1 on iCCup Fighting Spirit. That is insane. Holy crap. Gretorp lost, how many? He had 90. He ended with, what, 33? He lost 57 Marines in just a couple of exchanges with Banelings. That's pretty much insane, but he had so many Marines that it didn't even matter. That's just... I'm actually shocked that that happened. But now let's go into Game 2 and see if DarKFoRcE can try and fight his way back, or if Gretorp will move on in the Justin.tv Invitational number 2.